what is it that you as a pastor are trying to do in this city? What is it that if one person does this well, you'd want two people to, what is that one thing? And I think, I'm not sure if we nailed it down during this lunchtime, but I think it's a question worth really figuring out among your staff, among your leaders. Here's the one thing that we do, and then putting the kind of the resource, how do we multiply that and scale that thing? This is my tentative thought for a city movement, but let's just play with this idea. What if the one core interaction, again, it's an interaction, it's very hard to figure this out, by the way, was identified as one Christ follower helping someone else experience life, not just tell about it, but experience life spiritually, physically, relationally, emotionally, educationally, vocationally, etc., a little closer to the way God intended it. You probably don't remember this, but when we talked, I was with you last time, we had that whole session on the kingdom, and we defined the kingdom as life as God intended it, right? So that everybody, and what this does, this leaves room for a lot of activities. A lot of you are passionate about evangelism, other people about physical needs, food, clothing, shelter, relational wellness, strength of marriage and relationship, emotionally, healthy people, educationally, the kindergarten thing, vocationally, job creation. But it was an avenue big enough that everybody has a playground to play in, helping make somebody else experience life a little closer to the way God created it. You know what I mean? So it may not look the same what I'm doing, may not look the same what you're doing, Derek, but we could both honestly say I'm helping people experience life a little closer to the way God intended for them. People weren't intended to be in broken relationships. People weren't intended to be jobless. People weren't intended to be uneducated. People weren't intended to go hungry. God didn't make them for that. And so you have this big platform. So now you have one person in the city. Candace is doing this. How can we get two people to do that? How can we get four people? How can we scale that one interaction? Tell people, not just tell them about it, but help them experience it. And that's a different type of engagement, I think. And so what happened is, it might be one person sharing the gospel with a neighbor. It'd be great to multiply that. Establishing a school-church partnership for every school in Evansville. 2 church elders delivering a bag of groceries to a single mom in the neighborhood and praying for her. One businesswoman reserving 10% of her jobs for the hardest to employ. One person reading with a group of third graders every week. See, all those people are helping people experience life as God created, but they're doing different things. So if a city movement can be broad enough but specific enough, if you're doing that, Derek, how can you get somebody else to do it? It's almost like make it really easy, likely, and frequent for Derek to multiply his effectiveness. This makes sense. So it's just a different way of thinking about things rather than being programmatic from the top down, but we have a broad enough view that this is something we could scale. So what if the big, hairy, audacious goal was that every Christ follower in our city had a story to tell how they made life better for some other person in the city. In those same ways, spiritually, physically, emotionally, relationally, vocationally, educationally, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense? So again, I'm not saying that this is the right one, but there's something that once you guys decide on what it is, that's how you can determine if you're making any progress or not. Last year we had 50 people in the city that were doing this. This year we have 100 people doing it. And those things that can become a scalable thing and a measurable thing.